And we're live. Good morning and welcome to Wallet to Wealth, the female entrepreneur interview series. And today I'm in the hot seat with Amy Bell. Welcome, Amy. I'm going to introduce you formally in a
Hello.
second. So glad to
Oh
have you.
yeah, we're gonna turn the tables and put you in that hot seat. That's for sure.
Okay, so in support of Halton Women's Place, I'm just looking for my bracelet. In support of Halton Women's Place, From Wallet to Wealth is a brand created to speak to women to help mentor, educate, and inspire ladies to living and leading empowered lives. We've raised over $47,000 for Halton Women's Place at our annual speakers galas and have hosted some great events to help ladies build their businesses. So now that we've created our power introduction, get ready to free yourself from subconscious money sabotage with hypnosis. Backed by popular demand, Robbie Spear Miller will help us escape money madness, and that's tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. So we have a large turnout, so we can still take more. And just want to share this information here about the bracelet. This is the Wallet to Wealth bracelet that Monica made for us, Monica Graves, and she does a lot of work for people. But anyhow, the proceeds from this bracelet are going to Halton Women's Place. So we do not charge for our events. We spend a lot of time getting them ready, but we don't charge for them. So if you do want to do a give back, this is $45 plus tax. And we'll put the link below. You can order it. So join our squad. We not only help women win, we shine a spotlight on them every Monday morning at 10 a.m. So Amy, who most of you know, she is the publisher of the awesome magazine, United Colors of Design. And would you believe I don't have the copy right in front of me? It's in the other room. There you go.
I have a copy.
Get that magazine. Honest to God, it's fabulous, and it's you. I love it, Amy, because you have a one click on Amazon, and bang, you're into your account, and boom, it's sent right to your house or your office. So Amy is the owner of White Lightning Communications. Welcome, Amy.
Hello. Hello. Now I should probably be introducing you this time because I'm stealing you. I'm stealing your platform.
Yes.
Because you and I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago, and right after we were talking on the power statement workshop, right?
Yep.
And you had said, "Oh, I want to tell you my power statement." So do you remember it? Can you tell?
Oh, yes. So my power statement is I help women in business build massive wealth. And I do that because I love building wealth.
Okay. So when I heard you say massive wealth, something in me just went, like, I don't know about that word massive, Whitney. Like, I don't know if I can relate to the word massive. And you're like, well, why not, Amy? And so I think that we need to dive into that because the word massive is kind of a massive word. And to think that at my age, I could still build massive amounts of wealth was off my radar. I didn't even think that I could do it. So I don't know if there's, other people out there. Let's see who's on. Jessica. Good morning, Jessica.
I'm trying to get this into Wallet to Wealth, by the way. I don't see my techie in the background.
Oh, Brittany, where are you?
Brittany is working on her whatchamacallit, her immigration thing. I can't do it. So anybody who's watching, Amy, you might be able to do it.
Yeah, I might be able to. Let's see if I can get that in.
Yeah.
There. Yes, I can. Share. Boom.
Awesome. But you know what? While you're mentioning that, see, in my vocabulary, because half measures availed us nothing in life, I only know one thing. I mean, if you're going to build wealth, build it massively.
Oh,
why do it small? Build it massively. And why can't you? I mean, you're just launching an awesome magazine. You have no idea where that's going to go.
No, I don't. And yeah, and that's what we were talking about. So when you had mentioned it, you were saying that you had a mission. And in order to do this mission, you need to build massive amounts of wealth because it's a huge mission. And even if you don't have a huge mission, the amount of people that you can serve when you start making large amounts of wealth or big amounts of wealth, whatever word sits okay with you. But you showed me to think about not in terms of what I am capable of, but what I can do with that money once I create it. And once,
what you can give,
how I can be of service. So do you want to say what because you were telling me what you were doing, and I think it's amazing. And I want people to see what kind of giant inspiration and dreams people have so that they can like actually think bigger.
Yeah. So, okay. So my goal is to accumulate $20 million. And I'm about $9 million shy. I only check every 6 months. So, and the reason for that, you have to have some goals, right? Yeah. And they don't need to be about being selfish, because I'm not selfish, and I don't think I live an extravagant life. I'm very conservative in all my decisions, but there's a higher thing here. So it's not formulated, but it has something to do with water. And it has something to do with wells. And that's what I'm going to be doing in the future. And it's all going to be as a volunteer charity thing that I'm gonna spearhead. So it's about being a steward, so I'm a steward of money for decades, and there's all sorts of work that happens with that, and then where it leads to. So sometimes, like, for me, when we were talking about starving artists, I was trying to understand, like, why is it that, where does that come from? Like, why are they afraid to charge for their service or build wealth? Because building wealth is just stewardship. That's all it is. I manage a block of my personal investments, and I also manage a massive block of investments for other people. But we only own them while we're here in the world, right? Yeah. So it matters what you're going to do with that wealth while you're here. And it's about making change, and it's about helping others. It's not about being greedy or selfish or anything like that.
Yeah.
You got to make that goal. If you don't make the goal, then it can't be downloaded to you.
Right. So when I was talking to you, you're like, imagine what you could do with this money. We could send people to art school. We could create galleries for people. We could do, like, you just got, I thought I was a big thinker until I talked to you. And then I'm like, I don't even know there's a whole like world out there that exists that I can't even like comprehend at the moment. So you are writing, you're a columnist in the magazine. It's called Colors of Wealth. And we do have Colors of Money, which is tax and how to manage the physical part of your money. Yeah. But your column is more about like building this massive amounts of wealth and how to do that, and practical tips on how to do that. And so I wanted to kind of tease people with some of your article because it was brilliant. Like, just there's 5 steps, 5 bullets, 5 awesome words of nuggets of wisdom from Whitney. And I just wanted to maybe go through like one bullet of each points. And then if you want to read the whole article, of course, it's coming out on April 1st, so we can do that. But I think, we need to just get into it. I've written down what we were talking about. So the first thing was, let's convert this starving artist mindset to thriving artist. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to be artist. It could be like starving entrepreneur, because we do have those beliefs as well. Like, when you first start, you can't actually make money and you're going to lose money for the first couple of years. But, it doesn't have to be that way if you set your mind to it or set your goals to be like, that's not going to be my story, right?
Yeah, shift your thinking.
Yeah, so that's the first one. Shift your thinking. Know your worth. As a limited resource, add 10 times to the cost of your services. What is that? Like, I've never heard 10 times. Like, that makes me nervous.
Oh, Well, 10 times is a formula. So I came up with that a long time ago. So there was, many years ago, I hit a $100,000 of income. And that's probably like 25 years ago. And so I said, well, hey, okay, I hit the 100. So now I'm going to make it 10 times and I'm going to hit the million. And I did that many years ago. So, and now I'm doing that again. Seriously. And so my goal is to make $10 million a year. So that's where I'm going to. So the thing is that to look at, what your wealth is. So if we go back to the beginning, the times of adversity, dig deep inside of yourself. That's what I tell people, like, what's going on? What rivers are running inside of you? Because I can tell you what was running inside of me. I didn't have any self-worth. I felt like I was held hostage financially as a child growing up because of the craziness going on in my household between my mom and my dad and the constant fighting about money. It was just ridiculous. It was mental and it made me mental. And at the age of 2, I decided that, hey, you know what? I'm going to become super wealthy. I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's coming. It's coming. But the thing is that then as I attracted husbands that brought the same thing on that I was being held hostage in my marriages. And then I ended up in the women's shelter. And when I was in the women's shelter, I realized that, man, like I am only in this joint because I am being held hostage. I would have walked away from these situations had I have not been in this situation. So I'm going to take ownership of this and I'm going to bust out and I'm going to help me change. I'm going to change. I'm going to help me and I'm going to help others. Okay. And so I'm not doing that at $20 an hour or $40 an hour. Okay. I'm going to do that at a big number. And so charge your wealth, dig deep inside and look at what your talents are. I may not be very good at much in my life, but I am really good at building wealth. I know how to do it. Clients that come in, I wish I had 2 or 3 of me. I've got a team of 4 people working for me full time, and I've got them slammed to the wall. That's how busy they are. So we are busy. And we're bringing results for people. So for anybody watching, decide what your wealth is, what your worth is, right? Because I felt worthless. I had a message, a societal message. Who cares where it came from? And I had to shift my thinking and realize that, man, I have a lot of talent. And I decided this a long time ago. And I still have a ton of talent and I have a wealth of knowledge and I've got and so, yes, I get paid for that. And does the buck stop here? No, lots of it goes to charity. Give money away. You know what? Save your money, give money away, but do things so that when you're walking on this earth, whoever the gods to be are is going to say, well, hey, you know what? Let's use her as a vessel because she's a damn good steward. And I am, right? And there's all sorts of people that are also, and there's all sorts of people that are, but they're not using that talent. They have to dig down. So you have to realize that what you may think is easy for you to do is virtually impossible for somebody else. So
that's the thing, right? Like,
how
do people, like, I just do what I do and I don't really even consider that other people are like, what? Like, how did you even do that? Like, I do have clients say, oh, what I love what you do and you're doing great. And obviously you do too, but then how, like, I have to kind of remind myself every day that there are people out there that just can't do this. And same with being an artist.
You made that ad for me, right? Like you just whipped up that ad. Remember you asked me, do you want to buy an ad? And I'm like, sure, I want to buy an ad because I want to support you, right? And so then I'm like, yeah, so I'm going to buy an ad. I can give you money, but hell will freeze over before I figure out what that ad is. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter. It's not going to happen. And you're like, yeah, well, I'll do the ad for you and I'll do it at this price. So I took your ad, by the way, and I sent it to the top of one of the insurance companies, life insurance companies in Canada. And he looked at that and he was like, holy shit. And I'm like, yeah. Like, I mean, I could use this girl and just hammer down. If I'm not enough on social media right now, I should like get you to do more stuff, because I mean, for what, so the talent that you have and what you could have charged. And I always say this, when you're dealing with business owners, they'll just write you a check. You know, if you can get me from A to B and I don't want to have a discussion about it and I don't want you stressing me out, I just want to write you a check, because it doesn't hurt to write a check. You just go ahead and do it. You can have people write you checks all day long.
Yes. And that was another thing that blew my mind away, because we were in an editorial meeting and you had said, you know, Amy, I'm really busy and I just want to write you a check for the whole entire year. Can we not just do that? And this was not on my radar, because the people in my vortex have always been, I need a payment plan. Can I do it like monthly or stuff like that? I never even considered that there was people out there like you who were too busy to worry about 4 times a year of sending me money. And I'm like, holy shit, like there are people like Whitney out there, and I need to get them in my space, because I do believe that this magazine is going to be a catalyst for people in the arts community and in the, you know, the coaching. It's a secondary market, but entrepreneurs need to know this information. There's mindset in there, there's mentorship in there, there's energy work, there's all kinds of stuff. But in particular, for some reason, this artist thing and money just doesn't seem to go together. So I want to move on to the next one, because there's five more bullets that go along with shift your thinking in the article.
There are, but I just want to say one thing here before we move on, is that Amy, if you want this magazine to make a change in the world, it's calling to those people that will write those checks, that will help carry the message. It's people in sustainability, okay? And keep that in your vocabulary, because people that have been in business for a long time are about sustainability. They figured out how to do the profit thing. They figured out how to keep this business running. And that's what you want. You want sustainability. And in order to have sustainability, we've got to call in these people that can write these checks. And believe me, they're all over the place. We are in North America is rich. Okay. We live in a wealthy continent. There's money falling from the sky. I cannot believe how much money people have. That's where we live. We are not living in India with 2 billion people, where some are wealthy and many are poor. We are in a rich continent.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like yes. I fully.
That's where we live. I'm sorry, but that's where we live. So you've got a couple more points here.
Okay, So you've got 5 other points that go along with shift your thinking, but you're gonna, if you want to like read that stuff, the other nuggets from Whitney, you got to go to the magazine. So let's go. Create money buckets, short-term bucket. This bucket will hold funds for emergencies, a short month of income to allow us to work from abundance. Yes, and there's
So let me explain that. So the thing is that, and I've used this with people for, decades, is that if you create the buckets, like the rain bucket, if you put the bucket out in the rain, it's going to fill up with water. If you don't have the buckets there, you're not going to catch any water. So everybody try this. Don't pay off your debt before you start saving. Because if you're going to just create debt all the time, whatever, get yourself a couple of buckets, right? Even if, so there's short-term buckets, there's medium-term buckets, there's long-term buckets. But if you have no money, start with one bucket and put $25 in a month. Don't touch it. I guess I've read on Facebook yesterday, somebody said they had to take out the money out of their emergency bucket. That's not what it's for. You're broke. Okay. You make yourself broke by saving. You don't go into the bucket. It doesn't matter if your car broke down. It doesn't matter if you have a bill to pay. The bucket is for the rain. Okay, don't touch it, because if you put the money in the bucket, it will fill, and opportunities will come up. You'll see, and you get a couple of buckets, a short-term bucket, a medium-term bucket, and a long-term bucket. The long-term bucket you want for that's what will develop your wealth.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So that idea. So the bucket, the bucket is kind of like for the universe to fill.
Yeah.
And then when you were saying you put an ad, like we did the ad in the copper issue, and you had said, I'm now starting to get artists coming.
Yes.
And
That showed up.
Oh, yeah. I said, oh, that's amazing. The ad's working. And you're like, well, it didn't exactly come from there, but I put it out to the universe with your ad. And now I'm getting artists coming from all kinds of sources. And so that's kind of like this bucket. If you put the bucket out there, then the sources will just start to fill it, and you'll be able to start building from where you thought you had nothing.
Absolutely. And Amy, I have to say that the artists that showed up were not broke. Okay. They had significant cash flow. They didn't trust anybody. So there's actually been 3 of them now. They just did not have a strategy. But the biggest thing is they didn't trust anybody. There was no trust. They didn't know who to go to. So they were saving money all over the place, but they didn't know what to do with it. So
I think that is another good point about the trust factor, because you're kind of like, hoarding this money and thinking that you know everything, but really I know about design and I don't know how to grow money. So, it's just like, give it to someone who knows how to grow money and I will do the other on my time, right? So I love that. Well, first of all, I love they weren't broke.
Yeah, well, and I just want to go back to the bucket for a second. Once you start filling, so let's just say you do one bucket and you start filling that bucket very slowly with money. What happens is when you start to have something that you're looking at and you're building some self-esteem, because you're like, oh, that's my little savings pot. And I'll tell you, when you go to swipe your card for something, you'll think twice, because you'll think, crap, you know what? I'm going to put that in the bucket because I don't need that. And what happens is you start finding out that we don't need a lot of things. And during COVID, so one of the things, people are wealthy right now, like because they don't have anywhere to spend money, right? So they're spending all sorts of money on renos. You can't buy bikes or skis. I know when I go to my cottage, I can't get anything, zero, because it's all sold out, because everybody decided that hey, I can't spend money elsewhere, so this is where it's going to go. So anyhow, that bucket will attract more, exactly like what you said with the starving artist ad. All of a sudden I start having artists showing up, and I get them. Remember, I get them because you put that into the ad, so they show up because Whitney Hammond gets artists.
Well, a lot of times people will put an ad into somewhere and they're all about tracking it and the stats on it and how many clicks it got and all that stuff. But I love that you thought like beyond the clicks and beyond, like, I'm just sending a message to the universe that these are the people I want to bring in. And by doing that, they start coming from all sources. And I know this to be true, but when you said it, it was like, holy crap. Like, it works. It really does work. And I am amazed and astounded and joyful every time I hear when something like that happens. Like, you just put it out and it comes. Put it out and it comes.
That's about it. We hate to use that overused phrase, but it is the laws of attraction. It's the laws of the universe. So if we're going to call poor self-worth to us, hey, I called money hostage to myself, right?
Yeah.
There was 5 kids in my family. Did the other 4 children feel financially like they were being held hostage? Everybody has their different, that's what I felt. And then subsequently, I ended up getting married 3 times. And each time I felt like I was being held hostage financially. And so 21 years ago, I got out of that lifestyle, and I don't feel financially held hostage at all. So yes, it's calling that out to the universe. Just systematic withdrawals. That was another thing that we talk about in the article.
Yeah, that's coming up here. Set up systematic withdrawals. Money attracts money.
It does. Money attracts money. So when you get when you get that little bucket going with your money, and money attracts money. It's the same as rain. You leave that bucket out there. If you leave it out there all week, if you leave it out there all year, you're going to catch rain. So have yourself a bucket so that so that you can start putting money into it, and opportunities will show up, and you'll get, hey, if you're not thinking about it, if you're one of these people that blow money, when I look at, because I've been running my sovereign wealth management for 25 years, like people who show up have money, they're not showing up broke. They have money.
Yeah.
They've been saving money. And how did they get to it? And this is the thing, is that people always look and they're like, oh, how do you get this? How do you get that? You get that by systematically putting money aside. And all of a sudden, your world will open up to a new thing. I'll give you an example. Back when I was, one of my claims to success was I started as an investor buying real estate very young. I started at 20 and I'm 56. So I've never stopped. So I've done very well. Obviously I'm not a realtor, but I've done it on the buy side. And I remember, excuse me, in my second house, it was so big I needed to get furniture for it. So I went to buy it secondhand from a house on Lakeshore in Mississauga. And I remember saying to the owner, like, how did you get this house? It's like so big. It's like my dream. I really want to have a house like this. And he said, you know what? It was opportunity. He goes, geez, he goes, I couldn't afford it today. He goes, I bought it when the market was down. So there's all sorts of things that is that we can't covet. We can't look at others and say, how did they do that? They didn't do it by winning a lottery. Lottery winners actually give their money away. There's a book written on that one. You don't have money, you get money. It'll be out of your hands in about a year. So, but people develop wealth by systematically putting money away for a very long time. And while you're doing that, opportunities will show up, okay? Many different types of opportunities. And that's how we develop wealth. But if you don't start, you're not going to develop it. So, yeah.
Okay, so that's the point that I need us to talk about, because people in your group, women in your group are, they're not, maybe there's some in their 20s, but most of them I'd say are like, what, 40 plus, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying systematically for a long time, put money away. So would it, like, I'm 53 and I'm thinking, I don't know if I have a long time to systematically put stuff away. So like, is massive amounts of wealth out of the picture for me?
No, absolutely not. That's only in your mindset. Because once you start walking the walk, right? Remember the download? If you're walking the money walk, stuff's going to start showing up. If you're walking the scarcity, oh, I'll never be able to do this, then they're like, yeah, okay, you know what? We're not going to give Amy squat. We'll just go over to this girl here, Whitney, because she's walking the walk and she's like, yeah, I'll take it. I don't care. Because like I'm going somewhere. And when I fill my buckets, right, I'm heading out and I'm doing this water thing. So we'll save this video and we'll come back to it one day, because what's really cool is my story is evolving, and I'm okay to just say when the water deal is ready, download it and I'll go do it. I know that we have water issues in our world, and water. So there's education is one issue and water is another. Okay. I don't know why I got the water download, but that's the one I got. Okay. If I got the education one, which by the way came to me probably 15 years ago, and for some reason, my body, my whole soul is saying, what, you're going with water. So I'm going with water. And so when the world is short of water, I'm going to have water.
Well, it's interesting because a friend of mine, I'm in a miracle mindset group, and we've met every second Sunday for the last 5 years, every second Sunday. And one of the participants is in Texas. And so she actually has one of those giant rain barrels that she keeps outside of her house. And during this whole like bad scene that they had down there, where they had power outages and water mains broken and people all displaced, she had her rain bucket like her actual rain bucket, and people were coming to her to fill the bucket. So I totally just love that you're saying, put it in, like, allow the rain to fill it, which is amazing. So, okay, invest in yourself is number 4.
Okay. Yes.
There's
So,
good spending, bad spending. What would you consider good and bad spending?
okay. And bad spending is spending stuff that you poop in the toilet. Okay. And good spending is stuff that stays with you. So invest in yourself. So whether it's coaching, education, reading books, taking courses. The one thing that I did with my children when they were growing up, I told them they could have anything that they wanted as long as it filled their mind, okay, their mind and their soul. So while they were growing up, everybody else had all the, whatever you want to call it, things that you throw in the garbage one day. They didn't have any video games or anything like that. One has a postdoc in chemistry, the other one has 2 masters. And these are interesting girls that have had fabulous experiences in their life, and they've even done a whole bunch of Tony Robbins work, and so have I. So I've invested heavily in myself through education, licensing, and coaching. And I know I haven't counted lately, but I know that I spent well over 300,000 in coaching. I use professional coaches that are well known, and they've been around for a long time. So investing in yourself is really important, and it's not just the investing money wise. Okay, I'm sorry. There's also a spiritual healing path that's really important. I had a terrific amount of healing and forgiveness to do, and I found ways to do that. So that's really important. And I think that we heal through community and we heal through love. And that's one of the reasons for Wallet to Wealth. I'm watching women heal in that group. So invest in yourself in that way, and invest in yourself in things that you don't poop in the toilet. Get out of the habit of buying crap and corruption that you don't need, because one day you're going to die and someone's going to have to shovel all that shit into the garbage dump.
It's true.
Oh yeah.
But you're saying ask yourself if there's a return on your impending purchase before you actually do it.
Yes, absolutely. So, okay, if we go back to the basics, to the very beginning, I decided as a teenager this, and so I have never spent my money without getting a return. Okay, so every time I put money somewhere, it was always about getting a return. And that's why I was able to develop so much wealth over time. I even made $100,000 on an airplane. Like, go figure, I bought a brand new airplane and then I sold it to buy another one, and my airplane appreciated by $100,000. Like, go figure. So that's, I mean, that stuff is unheard of. Okay. It's just like, if anyone owns an airplane that's watching is going to say, well, how the hell did she do that? Right.
Well, it seems that you're doing the walk. So the money has to come.
There it was. And $100,000, it went into the new airplane. So, but I did decide that I have a 9-foot grand piano here in my house, and I bought that when I think I was 21. And I remember that was a big purchase for me at that time. And I remember saying, this piano will hold the value. And damn right it would, because what I paid for it back then, you can't even buy them for that price today. Same as my airplane, right? Goes up because as time goes by, the inflation surpasses what you actually paid on the item. So only purchase things that can have capital appreciation. Again, don't buy stuff that you're going to poop in the toilet, you're going to throw in a garbage dump one day. Buy things that you can sell one day. If you ever need to, you want to be able to have an asset that you can, put on your balance sheet or put in your net worth statement. Every 6 months, add up all the money you have. Get into the habit of doing this and put things in there that have some value, and not a car. That doesn't count.
Yeah. Well, all of this stuff is going to be expanded on in your article. So we just touched, like, all of this was just touching on the first bullet point of your 5 bullet points. And you have one more, but I don't want to talk about it. I just want to let people know your burn rate. I had no idea what a burn rate is. And so if you guys don't know what a burn rate is, you're going to have to read the magazine, because that is a super important number to know. And
powerful.
Yeah, Whitney totally talks all about it. So I just wanted to thank you so much, Whitney, for letting me steal your hot seat and pick your brains on how to like overcome some of these, like, I don't know if they're blocks, or I just didn't know these you people existed. And so when I started talking to you about the amounts of money and the potential of earning, it is exactly what I know. It's just I didn't apply it to something bigger. And so thank you for letting me steal your platform here today and allowing me to pick your brain, put you in the hot seat, and let's talk about money. And I think I'm actually going to now rid myself of the starving artist. I'm not even going to bring that into my vortex anymore. It's now just thriving. And we're not going to acknowledge the fact that there ever was a starving artist mindset.
Yes, absolutely. And your magazine is awesome. I wish I could see that, you know, everywhere in stores. Like, you know, when you go into, I don't know, a variety store or the drugstore and you see all these awesome magazines, like your magazine would be the first one that all the eyes would go to, because hold it up again, hold up your magazine.
Here we go.
So that's the copper. And so the first one was the black edition, the second one was copper, and then the third one is the red edition, which is coming out April 1st, which is that, what you say, boots on the ground, right? And I love it because mentorship, we didn't touch on this, and I know we've got to wrap because we've gone over time, but mentorship is really important, and mentorship is what has made me successful, because I've always been able to find a mentor that I can work with. So coaching and mentorship, they go hand in hand. In your magazine, it's a lot of it is about mentorship, and that's what I really like about it. So every article in there it's got a great tidbit to, you know, to move people forward. So so I'm a big fan of yours, Amy. I'm a massive fan, and I enjoy your spirit and your guts, and don't hold, like, don't hide yourself, right? Like, just let it rip. You know, that's one of my favorite sayings, like, let it rip, you know, like, who, you know, here's a woman from myself who felt hostage. You know, I went through a whole pile of abuse through my life, right? It's just ridiculous. To, you know, entering into a male dominated industry, getting past all of those guys, you know, to learning how to fly an airplane, you know, like, and I was terrified. Holy shit, was I terrified. And now I can go all over the place. So, you know, the places you will go. Same as you, Amy. You have no idea where you're going to go. You just got to put your hands out and say, hey, you know what? I'm going on this ride. Take me. Just take me, and I'll go wherever you want me to go. But hopefully I get to make a difference and a change in people's lives. And that's the name of the game. So yeah. All right. Well, we better wrap on this. We're over time.
Wrap it. Tie it in a bow.
Yeah. Thank you again. And we'll see everybody next Monday at 10 o'clock. And tomorrow night we've got Robbie.
The sex talk.
Oh yeah, the sex talk too.
Yeah, we got the sex talk tomorrow.
Yeah, so Robbie's tomorrow night at 7 to 8:30. So that's a live. You need to sign. I'm sorry, that's not a live. You need to sign up for that. That's a Zoom. And then we have the live sex talk that you killed me, some of your comments, that will be only broadcasted live in the Wallet to Wealth group. So that,
we got to keep that one on the DL inside the group only.
I kind of have some cool ideas of what we're going to talk about, but again, it's all about empowering women and, you know, making them feel better, right? It's that we got to get rid, you know, you're talking about the starving artist thing. We got to get rid of this poor self-esteem thing that was downloaded into us. I mean, you know what, like, guys, if you ask them, can you do this? Let's say they can't. Oh yeah, I can do that, no problem.
Yes.
Ask a girl, can you do this? Like, well, let me spend some time trying to figure it out.
Yes.
You know, like, give me some time, and once I get it perfect, right? Once I get it perfect, then I'll come and do it. You know what? Just let it rip.
Let it rip. I think that's our new mantra. Just let it rip.
Let it rip. Okay.
Bye, Whitney.
See you tomorrow night. Okay, bye-bye.